That movie, I'm so disappointed it never got made. Like I would love to see it. It's got to be.
It's a Tyrannosaurus, you idiot.
Oh my god, yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hope You Hated podcast. I, of course, am your host, Jack.
I'm Josh.
And we are back with another episode. This week, we are going to be diving deep into the world of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, I guess I should say, because that's what it is now. Obviously, with the 6th movie and the latest installment of the second trilogy coming out recently. We're going to talk about that, but more importantly, and maybe better to get our minds off of everything else about the 6th one, we will talk about the legacy of Jurassic Park itself. But first, a couple things came out. The new Resident Evil show that I had mentioned in previous episodes dropped. Thor: Love and Thunder hit theaters last weekend, and both of them are getting mixed reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally haven't seen Thor yet. I've been super busy and haven't been able to get to the theater to see it. I'm trying to not, again, take into consideration any of these critics saying that it's not as good as the last one. But that's what I'm hearing. Are you hearing the same thing?
From everyone I've talked to personally, they have enjoyed it.
Okay, well, that's good.
But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if people didn't like it as much because Ragnarok was freaking unbelievable. So they set the highest bar for that one. I mean, you have to completely kill it just to do as good as Ragnarok. So,
yeah. One thing I'm reading a lot is that they tried the same kind of humor style, but like tried to amp it up even more, which maybe is making it seem a little forced. That's one thing I read, but I'm going to try to watch it without any bias, of course, as I do most things. Resident Evil, on the other hand, is getting absolutely smashed. I know you started it and hated it.
I was not a fan.
Not a fan. I watched the whole thing, finished it to the end. I didn't think it was as bad as everybody made it out to be. There is definitely some wokeness to it. Some things that are, kind of feel a little, I guess, posterized, like put in there for a reason, which is whatever. But as a story and kind of continuation from the old Raccoon City to the new, it's pretty cool. I don't know. I don't have a lot to.
I like the idea of Resident Evil. I like the world that they have created in that. I was not a fan of the main characters and who they have as following. And that's a big part for me because I get super immersed in my shows and movies that I like to have a main character that I'm cheering for. And they, for some reason, did not set it up as like our main character is a likable person. They were a piece of shit. And I was like,
for sure.
I hope you die quick. And it's like, wait, you're the person I gotta follow. It's like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, so, I got you.
I don't know. I may go back and finish it just because I am a big fan of all the movies and everything. So maybe it can redeem itself.
I think I'm a big fan of being contrary.
Yep.
So if everybody's hating on something, it makes me want to like it more, and vice versa. But like, I also want to do it justice and like it for specific reasons or not like it for specific reasons. But anyway, so that's out. The Gray Man comes out very soon, 3 days. Everybody's excited about that. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I know you wanted to talk about a show that you just found, but before we get to that, I feel like we have to mention this episode is, of course, sponsored by our friends over at Jury of Wolves, urban apparel designed for style and comfort. And you can find them online at juryofwolves.com.
Excellent.
So anyway, so you found
I did. I found a show. So I was, of course, browsing through all my streaming services, trying to, because I like so many different things, but there's sometimes where I'm in the mood for a particular thing. Like I get in the mood for the mobster type stuff, and I go down that road, and I'm
Mhm.
watching all the Scorsese and stuff. And then sometimes I'm into the zombie thing, and I'm going down that road, or the Viking thing, or whatever it may be. And I was going through Apple TV's some of their different shows, and I
Okay.
found this show. It's called Blackbird, and
Mm.
it's a it's in its first season, which I
Okay.
don't know if they're gonna do more because it's a based off a true story thing.
Mhm.
So it may be like one of those limited series. I haven't researched it enough. I think that right now that there's 4 or 5 episodes out. Um, but why this one hit me is so the main character is
Mhm. I
the
see
guy
why
from
you
The
like it
Kingsman.
already. Yeah, I see why
Yeah.
you like it already because of the two people.
Well, I mean, it's got what Taron,
Uh-huh.
um, which most people know him as Johnny from Sing 1 and 2. He's the gorilla. Um, fantastic voice. Anyways, so it's done in a way where it's kind of has its true crime
Mhm.
little part where so basically Taron, he is a very charismatic and charming drug dealer who gets sent to
Okay.
prison. He kind of gets screwed in his sentencing and has to spend a long time in there. Um, the FBI then goes and contacts him in prison and goes, "Hey, we have a serial killer that we would like for you to transfer to this maximum security prison, befriend the serial killer, and see if you can buddy up to him and he will talk to you and give you the location of the bodies that he's buried. They're
Mhm.
like, if you can do that, then we will wipe your slate clean and you can get out of prison. So it's got all these very fun, cool elements. Tarrant does an awesome job of just being that, like I said, that charming drug dealer type guy in a prison, running his side hustles and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Serial killer guy. I I feel so bad. I can't remember his name, but every time I see him in something, I fall in love with him. He is so good at being creepy. That
Talking about
is
Ray Liotta, right?
no, no. So Ray Liotta
Oh.
plays Taryn's dad.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I'll have to figure out.
Greg Kinnear?
No, nope.
He's
He
in it too.
plays yeah. So he plays the sheriff or investigator guy that catches the
Okay.
serial killer.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's cool because like the story's done in kind of two parts. So it kind of follows the Greg Kinnear how he catches the serial killer, and then it jumps back to like Taryn in prison and him
Mhm.
working with the FBI to learn more about like how to buddy up to this guy and stuff. So it kind of shows both things. So you get the prison aspect of it, but then you also get the true crime of trying to figure out and catch the serial killer, like who is doing it, do we have enough evidence on him and stuff like that. But I just stumbled across it because I had never heard about it, seen anything, and I read a little blurb about it,
Mhm.
on there, and I started watching it, and I was like, "Oh, this was exactly what I wanted, exactly what I wanted." And
Cool.
so, since I had never heard of it before, and I know true crime is a hot thing out there for a lot of
Yes.
people, but there are a lot of garbage ones, like
Sure.
especially like I really like the documentary style ones a lot of times,
Mhm.
but too many of the documentary ones could be done in 5 minutes, but they go and they
Yeah, you
interview this
stretch it
person. They're
out,
like,
yeah.
"That person, we saw them there and they were super
Yeah,
creepy," and then it goes on to this and that, and it's like, you could really condense this so much more than what you have,
sure.
and the story's not that interesting, but they keep throwing these things all out there because they know that we're eating them up like crazy. So when one's done really well, like how this one is,
Mhm.
I'm all over it. So that is my biggest recommendation right now. If you were a true
Cool.
crime fan and you like any of those guys, like I said, Ray Liotta, Taryn,
Rest in peace.
and yeah, for real. This may have been the last thing that he did. I didn't check
Maybe.
his IMDb, but
Yeah.
he was looking rough in it, like like an old man. But I mean, he's supposed to play an older man in the movie, so maybe they doctor him up with the makeup. But anyways, yeah,
Anyways,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
very cool. So there you
Hmm.
have it. If you need something new to watch, Blackbird on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Um, Before we jump into the Jurassic Park chat, I have
Hmm.
4 recommendations. If you are a movie lover and you're on your phone or on your computer all day and you're not playing these 4 movie games,
Hmm.
I think you're missing out. Something that's super cool. Uh, they're really quick. You can only play like one round. They're very much like Wordle. If you guys are
Hmm.
familiar with the word game that became like a craze over the past year and then kind of died out. The first one is framed.wtf, and it gives you six guesses to or six screenshots to try to guess what movie it is,
Hmm.
and you try to guess it obviously in the least amount of screenshots. So like I said, frame.wtf. I'll link all of these games in the description, either whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on Google or Spotify or Apple or whatever it is. You'll find it in the bio. Links to all of
Hmm.
these, but the first one is framed. The second one is called Cinna Nerdle, and it is a like a picture tile game. That
Hmm.
same thing. You take guesses after you unlock a tile, and it's a scene from a movie. So it
Hmm.
like slowly reveals the whole scene, and you got to guess. There's another one called Posterdle, and it is a slowly revealing movie poster that you have to guess at.
Mm.
And then the last one is Moviedle, and that one is actually clips from a movie. You start out with a 1 second clip,
Mm.
and it's like just all these different images that flash across in 1 second, and you try to guess, and then it goes to number two, where it's like a 2 second clip, and then 3 second, et cetera, and you have
See,
to
that's
guess it.
my favorite. Like I love when I just walk through a room and I can turn my head, see the TV,
Hmm.
and with under 5 seconds go, I know what movie that is. Like
Exactly.
I find so much pride in myself for doing that.
That's why I like the framed one, because it literally
Yeah.
just gives you a screenshot. And I've gotten some ones that are so obscure that it's
Yeah.
just like the very one of the very first ones that I played was American Psycho, and the framed for American Psycho, the very first image is just a plate of like random food at a fancy restaurant,
It went in like
and
kiwi or something,
it was like,
strawberries.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was like one of the really really fancy dishes, desserts or whatever. And I saw that and I was like, that looks like American Psycho, and
Mhm.
I mean, you got to really have some movie knowledge or at least recognition to kind of nail some of these. So
Mhm.
very cool. I'll link all four in the description. Um, but yeah, I think if you like movies, you'll enjoy some of these.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now we get into the nitty gritty. Obviously, like we mentioned, this week we're talking about Jurassic Park. Jurassic
Mhm.
Park has an incredible transformative legacy. Despite, and this is kind of one of the things, despite having not really great movies or not really great ratings over the series of
Mhm.
movies, I liked most of them out of the
Mhm.
six. They were all entertaining, all six of them, but
Yeah.
like there was probably only, I think you could say maybe three were good movies, maybe two really really good,
Mhm.
three good, and then the other three like whatever. But somehow still maintains this incredible legacy, incredible fandom.
Mhm.
I mean, number one that came out in 1993 is, they're putting it in, or they already did put it into the um, what's it called, the National Film Registry in
Mhm.
the at the Library of Congress, because it's so culturally and historically
Oh yeah.
significant. And they actually recently, it's been recognized as having an actual cultural impact on how people view dinosaurs,
Mhm.
which I don't know necessarily is like always a good or bad thing, like one way or the other, but just in general,
Yeah.
like it's so popular that it actually gets people to think about dinosaurs. When you think about dinosaurs, you immediately think of Jurassic Park, and like
Oh
you
yeah.
throw those
Yeah.
two together.
No one else, no other like there's no other dinosaur movies. I mean,
There
none that
are,
are
but like
good.
none that are good.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, they are like C level dinosaur movies, not even B level ones. Like no just no one else can touch the subject. Like
Do you think
it's
that
like they have
do you
all the
think that that
rights.
is because people like know that they can't like stand up to like such a huge colossal franchise, and so it's like, why even make a movie about it?
I I don't think so
Or is it like
because like if
budget
the right
wise?
director came around, like so of course I was doing my trivia research and stuff on
Hmm.
this. Um and I was reading that James Cameron wanted to direct Jurassic Park,
Hmm.
but he basically found out about the whole thing right after the bidding ended. and so Spielberg had won the bidding, and Cameron had missed out on everything.
Mhm.
Um, and then after watching Spielberg's version, he's like, "Oh, Spielberg was the right one to do this." He goes, "Because in my mind, he goes, I was picturing much more the movie Aliens, but with dinosaurs.
Okay.
You know, like a
Yeah, like
very
scary, like
much scarier,
horror.
much darker kind
Yeah.
of thriller type thing." Um, and he's like, "So it's probably better that Spielberg did it because it could reach a broader audience and stuff like that." And all
Yeah.
I could think of was like, "Holy crap. I would
Wouldn't that be
actually,"
awesome?
yes, right. And so, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you take a director like James Cameron, if he came around and was like, "I want to do a Jurassic Park type thing, but do it in my own way," I bet he could knock it out of the park. The dude's
Yeah.
talented.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. I mean, I don't know if anyone else does, but I mean, he's probably underrated. But
I
uh,
mean, he's
but I
pretty
did
pretty
see, this
yeah.
is the funny part of it. He said that if he had gotten the rights to Jurassic Park, that he had planned on casting Arnold Schwarzenegger as Grant,
Oh,
Bill
no.
Paxton as Malcolm, and then
Oh,
Charlton
no.
Heston as Hammond. And I was like, that would have been wild.
The
Like that.
dinosaurs, come on.
Yeah, so it would have been scary like Aliens, but with Arnold as well. Trying to, oh my god, that movie! I'm so disappointed it never got made. Like I would love to see it. It's got to be
It's a
redone.
Tyrannosaurus, you idiot.
Oh my god, yeah, that would have
That's
been great.
amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Really quick, I don't think I put two and two together for this, but
Mhm.
before we even talk about Dominion, the new one, did you know that the guy who played Hammond is the brother of the guy that does all the nature stuff, the nature documentaries, that David Attenborough?
Attenborough, yeah. Well, when I was going through the stuff, I kept seeing Attenborough, and I was like, I mean, I didn't realize that they were related, but you saying it,
They
I believe it now because I was like, it's the same last name. There, how
they
many
they
are there?
talk nothing alike. One has like the voice of an
Yeah,
angel, and the other guy is like, "We spared no expense." What?
yeah,
They
yeah,
I One of them got the acting, and the other one got the voice. I guess
yeah. I guess
that's
so.
hilarious. So again, like the legacy of Jurassic Park is phenomenal. Is fantastic. It just has some backstory. I think I maybe mentioned this in one of the other episodes, but Jurassic Park was the first non-Disney movie that I saw in theaters,
Hmm.
and I was 9 years old, and I
Yeah,
had to be.
that's pretty wild.
I was told um, before we went there that dinosaurs are extinct. This isn't real. Blah 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 blah. And I remember being like, yeah, duh. Like I know that. And then coming out of the theater being like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that was the scariest movie I've ever seen. Like
yeah,
what?
that is
There's
wild.
so many moments in that first one that even still to this day, if you put them on, will give you that like
Mm,
chill kind of like,
yeah.
it's still just as tense watching it now. But we're gonna get to the rating of all of them, and we're gonna talk about some of the nuances and all of that, where they
Hmm.
rank and everything. But let's talk about Dominion really quick because that's the newest one.
Hmm.
Out of 10, where do you put it?
I mean, it's a 10, easy.
Yeah, you loved
No,
it.
I enjoyed it a lot. Um, but like if I'm trying, I don't even know how to put it. Like
You
I
gotta.
sat down, I enjoyed the movie.
Hmm.
I walked away from it happy, having a good time.
Hmm.
But if I think about it too much, it makes me angry.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
um, so I would maybe say like a 7 out of 10.
Dang, that's high.
Just yeah, I mean maybe so, but like I said, I thoroughly had fun the whole time.
Sure.
Like
Oh, it was
the
definitely. It was
lots of awesome
definitely.
stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely. Um, that was directed towards the like let's have fun, almost like do the Michael Bay thing.
Yeah.
More action than substance. But here's the thing. So just like every other Jurassic Park movie, you can't help but not be excited for it because it's just
Hmm.
so cool. It's like seeing the dinosaurs come back, hearing the music. It's just like, okay, all that nostalgia is all wrapped up, and they really they really go for it. But with Dominion, they really do go for that, like so
Mhm.
hard and on the nose, like bringing every single one of the original characters back, right?
Yep.
Throwing all of them together. They repeat word for word lines
Yeah.
from the beginning. Like you have Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum looking at a thing, and he goes, "If you look up, you're gonna see a big set of cables. Follow those." And then like they go to the thing, and he's like, "Okay, you're gonna see a big panel with all those buttons, and at the very bottom is a green button. Push it."
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we get it. You were in the first one. You said all these things. You
Mhm.
don't have to be so on the nose, but
Well,
in
so I
reality,
like the subtle thing that they did though, where like, in the first movie, he's got his shirt V-necked, like, open all the way.
hmm
It's like
hmm
the first button's, like, at his belly button, and in this one, it was open a little bit, and the girl looked at him, and he buttoned one of the buttons, and then continues on. I was like, that's a
that's the
good way
subtle
to
thing.
do a good throwback.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not all up in your face. You have to know
hmm
more about the original, and so I don't know. There were things like that that I was like, "That's really cool." Like,
I,
I
I would have,
appreciate that joke well.
I would have liked if that's the direction that you want to go, like nostalgia, bring things back from. I would have
Mhm.
liked littler things like looking at like a quick glance to the side with a redirect of focus to like a water puddle and showing like the seismic
Mhm.
tremor and like kind of that throwback, or like something with like the how he did the water on Laura Dern's hand in the
Mhm.
Jeep, or like just like littler things like that
Yeah.
where it's not repeating lines word for word, right? I just feel like you end up just so on the nose with things. But I
Mhm.
really wanted to like this going into it. I really wanted to like say, okay, this is a great way to wrap up the second trilogy, and
Yeah.
hopefully it just is what it is. I just there's just so many things that draw you out of the fact that it's a dinosaur movie. What it
Mhm.
felt like was Indiana Jones. It
Yeah.
felt like a action packed things exploding. There was car chases and there was planes crashing, and there's like you just half expect Harrison Ford to like get shot across the desert in a refrigerator and come rolling out and being like, wow, that was something, and putting on his hat.
Mhm.
It's like, I mean, Grant even at one point loses his hat and
Tries
he's
to
like,
get
I
his
gotta
hat.
get
Yeah,
it. It's like,
I
dude,
know. Yeah.
I just it felt like the dinosaurs were an afterthought of the movie in a
Mhm.
franchise that is about dinosaurs living again.
Yeah, I could see that,
The only
but
time that they really focused on the dinosaurs was whenever they were trying to recreate a scary scene, right? Like
Mhm.
having Claire get chased by that weird bird dinosaur with the long talons that like,
The Wolverine dinosaur, yeah.
yeah, that like knew that she was under the water but decided not to eat her. Like
Mhm.
they try to either create those tension scenes, or it was just like, okay, we're going to show a dinosaur fight.
Yeah.
So it was either a dinosaur fight or a wannabe tense scene. But the problem is that none of the newer movies have
Mhm.
captured that same tension
Mhm.
that the first one did.
Yeah.
Like that first one with the raptors in the kitchen, and
Mhm.
just like the slow pans and them tapping their talon on the tile in the kitchen, and the sliding in the ice, and when Ellie's trying to shut the metal thing, and you think that
Yeah.
the raptor is going to dive into her. It's like on the reflection, and just like
Mm.
all of those. Man, the first time that the power goes out next to the T-Rex pen,
Yeah.
and everyone's kind of looking around, and then the goat leg lands on the thing, and then you just look over and you just see the head of the T-Rex kind of just go
Yeah.
up, and you see the powers out and the lines start snapping, and you hear the twisting of the wires. Man, like those
Mhm.
moments, you do not find another single one of those
Yeah.
in the second trilogy.
Mm. Not whatsoever. I mean, even in the first trilogy, I mean, the first Jurassic Park is the only one that had stuff like that.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
2, 3, then all the
Well,
it's
we don't talk about 3 because 3, like, look, there was a scene in 3 where a dinosaur woke Grant up on a plane by saying Alan. Like, you just have a raptor speaking in a dream to him,
mhm.
and that scene seems so out of place with the rest of the series.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I I agree, like, wholeheartedly that, but I kind of, once we started seeing the new ones with, like, Chris Pratt and everything, you kinda knew what to expect after that. They've all been fairly similar in that
Sure.
aspect, that you know you're not getting the original.
The same, yeah.
Um, and I mean, I was talking with my brother about this the other day, that there was something done with so many of the movies in, like, the '80s and '90s, that they have this weird feeling, this I don't know what it is that these movies give off, that's so original to that time, that no movie gets anywhere close to recreating that kinda stuff now.
Mhm.
Like, some of these older ones are just, they're always gonna be classics because people just can't touch them now. I don't
Yeah.
know if just directors and producers and everybody are just like, people do not have the attention span to be able to have something be suspenseful for a little while and then go big. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's gotta be
That's a
action
big
and
reason
scary,
for
then
it.
thrill, then
Yeah.
that. It's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like they have no respect for us. I don't know what it is. But
Well,
like I said, my dumb little brain enjoyed the new one and all the action stuff like that, but I didn't go into it expecting the original movie, because
you have
you
a
know
very you
about
have a
that.
very good way about like shutting off the brain as far as like just going into something to enjoy it and like trying not to analyze it a lot. And I try to do that as best as I could. And like I said, I really did go
Mm,
into it wanting to like it. But I think that a lot of that comparison, when you're comparing like these classic movies to ones that are now, has a lot to do with where we are societally as well. So like we expect like a ton of stimulation.
mhm,
We are just we are fed information like so quickly, so much. You TikTok,
mhm,
Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, like it's just boom, boom, boom. Everything is just instant, instant, right? You're
yeah,
just constantly um like given information. And
mhm,
so when you're watching a movie, you want the same kind of feeling. Like you don't want this extended, played out scene for a payoff. You want payoff after explosion after explosion after, you know what I mean? And so it's like that's almost
yeah,
the way
I
that it's
don't,
pandered to,
it's so
right?
weird because it's like, I don't know of anyone that feels that way. Like, everyone I know
Yeah,
likes
okay.
the
Well,
older
okay,
stuff
so
more, so it's like, who is it that they're appealing to? Because it's not getting better ratings
um
than the original, so, like,
yeah, well,
I would
here's the
think that
thing.
most people aren't saying like, "Oh, this movie is better than the original because it has all this action stuff." No, everyone's going, "No, this isn't as good as the original."
No,
So
not
why do
every
they
not
keep?
but that's the thing is that not every this is the problem is that not
Yeah.
everybody. You and I are looking at that and we are looking at it logically,
Mhm.
realistically, and I talk with other people that like, people that have a brain, right?
Yeah.
In general, and they look at things logically across all avenues, not just entertainment, but just in general. If you look at things logically and you problem solve and you know, use the brain that you have, you can like figure some of this stuff out. But if we
Mhm.
look at our favorite website, Rotten Tomatoes, shout out to Rotten Tomatoes,
Yep.
Jurassic World Dominion, according to the audience, okay, according to
Mhm.
audiences, has this same, it's off by 1%, but the same percentage as the first installment with Chris Pratt, Jurassic World, which
Mhm.
we all know between those two, Jurassic World was 10 times better.
Mhm.
Okay. It has this 77% approval rating from audience versus
Yeah.
78% on Jurassic World, the first one.
Mhm.
The difference of those is that the critic score on Dominion is 30% versus it's the lowest of all six. It's even lower than number 3
Mhm.
versus 71% of Jurassic World critic.
Yeah.
So the critics actually like Jurassic World. They've trashed every other one except for the first one. The
Mhm.
first one has a 91%, 92 critic, 91 audience. But did you like Lost World, the second one?
No.
Okay.
But the problem with that one, I was super biased because I was super into Jurassic Park.
Hmm.
Um, these were like my middle to high school years,
Sure.
and I went to the library and I
Mm.
checked out The
The
Lost
book.
World by
Sure.
Michael Crichton, the book, and I read it, and it was so freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It was
And then
so good,
it was nothing
and
like it.
then the movie was like they just made a second movie. It had none of the same things as the book. Like, none of the same
A
people,
little
the
bit.
same plot, like, it was
Yeah,
just
a little bit.
nothing. It was
Yeah.
utter garbage. It upset me so much that number 2 is my least favorite Jurassic Park movie of
Mm.
all time.
Well, it's interesting because the critics gave number two and number three around the same score, whereas audiences hated number three more than number two.
Mhm.
But my point is like you're saying, who are these people that are liking that? Well, according to audiences, 3 out of 4 people that went to see Jurassic World Dominion liked it as much as the first Jurassic World,
Mhm.
and those same people that went to see it and then wrote these reviews, only half of the people like Fallen Kingdom. So like the
Mhm.
people that are out there that are going to theaters and just in the general consumer, that's what they want. They want this like in your face action. Like they don't want the long payoff. They don't
Yeah, but
want the
I'm saying compared to, like, the original Jurassic Park, that one has the highest rating because and that's what I'm saying, like, if what the stuff that they're doing now, if it's not beating the original, then it's like, why are you changing the recipe? It's like going to
Mhm.
KFC now and they have a whole new recipe and everyone's like, "This is crap." And they're like, "Well, we did it new for you." And it's
Mhm.
like, "I don't care, go back to the original
Right,
stuff." Like,
right,
that's what
right.
we like. And they're like, "No, you don't know what you like. This is what you like." And
This
it's
is
like
what you like.
and it's like,
So
people are
yeah,
showing you that you're wrong because of I mean, you could tell by the rating and the critics and all this kind of stuff. It's not getting anywhere near what the original one did. So why are they getting away from that? But like I said, I don't know if I could even really piece together what magic was done in the first one to make it so good. I mean, I would have to go through and just analyze it for a week and really just dive into it
there's
to
a
be able
bunch
to
of
figure
things
it out.
that stick out, from anything else. I mean, the first one was really the only one that used live animatronics. I know they used them
Mhm.
a little bit, I think, in the second, but it was also the first like really groundbreaking one where the live action animatronics were so real and
Yeah.
lifelike that like it was game changing. I mean, that whole aspect of how they made the dinosaurs, how they like did the suits for
Mhm.
the kitchen scene and how they did the T-Rex and all that. Like there was a lot of CGI in it. It was a really big breakthrough in CGI as well, but they used so much practically that I
Mhm.
think it gives the films a completely different look than like the new ones. You can tell whenever you know Chris Pratt's like holding a dinosaur in his lap, and you're like, that's not real. Like
Yeah.
you don't have a dinosaur in your lap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it was a very different thing than from the first one. And it's crazy to me that 30 years ago, movies had better special effects somehow than we have now. Right? Like
Yeah.
it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Before I forget though, the Lost World. So this is a fun fact about the Lost World. Um, the second book. So after the success of the first movie, right?
Mhm.
The which was based off the book by Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton wasn't going to write a second one. He wasn't going to
Mm.
write a Lost World, and it wasn't written until 1994. Okay, so
Mm.
the Lost World, the book was released in '94. The first one, Jurassic Park, was released in 1990. So
Mhm.
you had the the book released in 1990. The first movie came out in '93, so 3 years later. It had such global success that everyone begged Michael Crichton to write a second, right? Whatever.
Mhm.
He said no. He said no. Steven Spielberg went to him directly and was like, "Look, I want to make a sequel. I want you to write a book for me to base it off of."
Mhm.
Okay, so he did. They made the Lost World. It came out 3 years later. So the book was released in 94. They started working on the script and the movie. It came out in 97. And somehow, despite Steven Spielberg asking Michael Crichton specifically to write a book so he could make a movie, he
Mhm.
didn't follow any of it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So
I have no idea.
that's my fun fact for the Lost World. Um, as far as like, and again, going back to like audiences and how these movies performed, right? I I think it's amazing that at the time when Jurassic Park, the first one, was released, it quickly became the highest grossing movie of all time.
Mhm.
At the time, right? It's no longer, of course, but at the time it was, and it wasn't. I think it held that place for 4 years until Titanic came out, and then Titanic.
Mhm.
It's still NBC Pictures, NBC Studios. It's still it. NBC Studios is the largest grossing movie.
Yeah.
There's in Steven Spielberg's. But you know what's even crazier?
What?
Jurassic World is now number 7 on the number 6 all time worldwide box office. And you know where the first
Yeah.
Jurassic Park is?
Where?
42.
Mm.
But that's also, way back when not as
Mhm.
many people were going to the theaters,
Yeah, we
probably.
have like 2 or 3 billion more people on the planet than what we did then.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
But
Yeah.
so this stuff just blows my mind though. So as bad as reviews as um Jurassic World, I say bad, but like Jurassic World got pretty decent reviews, 3 out of 4
Mhm.
on from both critics and people. Fallen Kingdom though, 2 out of 4. So
Mhm.
or whatever you say, it's 50% across the board. Fallen Kingdom is still number 15 on the all-time list worldwide,
Yeah. It's Chris
and
Pratt, man. Dude can
and
bring in the money.
World and Dominion is already 83rd
Mhm.
worldwide, and it's only been out for a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. It has some really cool stuff in it.
Does
It
it?
was fun. Dude, the scene where he's on the dirt bike driving through the city getting chased around
Bro, it's
raptors.
Indiana Jones.
I don't I don't care if it's Dora the Explorer. Like, it was awesome. I enjoyed that scene so much. It was just high paced, like raptors jumping all over the place.
Bro, what are they
Like,
doing? Why?
what?
So
Why you gotta be a
bad.
hater? It's
So
freaking
bad.
raptors chasing a motorcycle. It was freaking awesome. I
The
love that
whole
kind
the
of
whole
stuff.
like use a laser pointer to control dinosaurs. Just I can't
Super
I can't get
realistic.
behind it.
I've been
Like,
working on one of those myself.
dude, in every other Jurassic Park movie up until the last two where they introduced this laser guidance system, a
Mhm.
dinosaur is like you. The coolest thing would be like even in number 2 when the T-Rex made it to Los Angeles or whatever and it was like running
Mhm.
down the street, it would be like chasing a guy and then like another guy would run out in front of it and it would be like, ooh, now you're my snack, and then like eat
Yeah.
that one and then like go running after this one and eat that guy, and then he'd be like chasing one but they'd get away and he'd be like, oh yeah, this guy, and then go after him.
Mhm.
Those raptors would have been killing everybody,
Yeah.
everybody in the whole square if that
Yeah.
was the case.
Well,
But nope, they're just
and
chasing a guy on a bike.
it was kinda ridiculous too how just minutes before a person outran the raptor on foot,
Yeah. Hmm.
and then 2 seconds later, they have one on a motorcycle, and the raptors are almost
They're just
catching the guy on
chasing
the
them. Yeah.
motorcycle. It's like, alright, so how fast are they? Are they faster than a
No.
person, or are they
No.
faster than a motorcycle?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Claire
so
Claire managed to outrun the one to get to the car, but then it chased her in the car. So
yeah. So there's things like that that you watch it, you're like, "Alright, this is ridiculous." But at the same time, like I said, I was having fun with that. I like everything to do with raptors. I'll watch them play poker. I don't give a
yeah.
shit. I just wanna
Wha-
see them do stuff, like, and them running around, jumping, clawing, biting, like, that was very fun to me. So,
How
that motorcycle scene, I love it.
Why
I
does
love it.
every Jurassic Park movie, well, the past 3 at least, end with a T-Rex fighting whatever new dinosaur they've made?
Because it's the best thing. What other ending are you gonna do? Because I'll tell you, it probably sucks compared to a T-Rex fighting something. Like,
It is always some crazy setup where it's like a tag team and the T-Rex needs help from some other. other dinosaur, and
Yeah.
it's always some crazy. Or last in the last one, it was or in the first one, it was the Mosasaurus, big
Mhm.
giant sea creature. And then why at the end was the Mosasaurus just chilling with whales? Why didn't
They're
he
in
eat
perfect
the
harmony,
whales?
bro. They're in harmony now. They learn to coexist like we as humans should do with all of their humans and animals and plants.
It's nonsense. And also, how did they survive a plane crash with a pterodactyl attached to the top?
So that would upset Kaysen a lot because this wasn't like one of those plane crashes where it kind of flies and then kind of skids through
Slides.
the
They
trees.
went face first into
It
ice.
was like straight down. I mean, the plane literally stuck with his nose directly in the ground. It wasn't sliding
Yeah,
to a stop. It was straight down in the ground. And he sits in the cockpit
yeah.
holding on to the side like, I got this. Gets out. Neither of them even have a scratch. They don't even bother with like movie
Nah,
makeup to go like, oh, he
uh-uh.
has a little blood on his forehead.
Nah,
He
he's
he had
good.
no more injuries than what he started with.
No, he's good.
It was like I would at least have gone to, a further back area of the plane where I could kind of like brace up against something. But he's like, no, there's no
Face
windshield.
first.
That's cool. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
water,
in the
ice.
cockpit where
We're
there's
good.
no windshield, straight into the ground.
It wasn't
Yeah,
even ground. It was ice. They
yeah,
went right into the ice water. So you
yeah,
could have got ice and then water right up the face
yeah.
with the
Well,
impact of hitting it.
we also found out that Chris Pratt is way too hot to ever get hypothermia.
Yeah, no, he's not cold. He
Because
goes into the cold water that would literally kill you in 10 seconds, and then he
he
comes out and
doesn't
he's
even
like,
shiver.
yeah,
That's how much of a man he is.
yeah.
He doesn't even shiver.
He's not cold. He doesn't need to dry off because by the time they
Yeah.
run into the building, he's
He's
dry.
sweating. He's
Yeah.
glistening with sweat now. Yeah. Yeah.
I like how Claire got more hurt from jumping out in a parachute
She
than
got
they
the
did
shit beat
crashing.
out of her. Like, maybe you should have just stayed in the plane. We were fine. Oh my god. Yeah. Stuff like that is so ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like a Fast and Furious movie. You know there's gonna be ridiculous stuff, but if you can enjoy it for what it is, you can have fun with it. Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I love seeing the old characters. I liked the crazy action scenes. Some of it was dumb, like I'm gonna crash my plane to the ground and get out and continue doing stuff. And okay, that's just how it was. I just accepted it and moved on. Like it is what it is.
I did
Like,
like the addition of like I in the past couple they've done this. I like the addition of um different species. Like they're
mm-hmm,
not just going with the same ones every time. I mean the weird Wolverine bird dinosaur was weird, but it was
mm-hmm.
cool. And I can never remember. It's not the Spinosaurus, but it's the lizard one with the big spines. It was in Turok.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember. I can't remember what they're called, but very cool.
That scene got a lot of screams.
hmm I
In
mean,
my
it's
house, at
cool.
least. There,
Yeah.
everyone was screaming. They kept jumping out of the dark, and I was like, ah, ah! Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah, those were cool. I mean, the bigger, and then now I'm not gonna remember what that dinosaur was either. Not the Allosaurus, or maybe it was the Allosaurus.
Mm,
I don't remember. It was
I don't
always
know.
like the biggest one. But anyways, that was cool. Did you catch the main bad guy's connection?
No, but I do
Okay,
have a fun fact about him. Well, more of a story about it. So I'm
hold on,
watching.
because is
Okay,
it the same?
okay,
Are
hit
you
me with
talking
it.
about the actor, the
No,
guy
so
that played him? Because he looks like
this.
what's his
Go
face?
ahead. You do
He
yours
looks like
first.
the guy from Apple. No, so I I kind of had a feeling, but they didn't really like. They didn't. I don't know that they really explained it in the movie, but they only use his name. So that guy's name is Dodson, right? Like
Hmm.
Dodson, Lewis Dodson. Do you remember him from the first one? You don't, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
This is awesome. Because like when I heard the name, I was like, "Oh my god, is that the same guy?" And so like I had to actually look it up, and it is the same. It's not the same actor, but it is the same character. So when um Dennis Nedry, what's his face from Seinfeld?
Oh,
Whenever
I know what you're talking about.
when he sits down at the little cabana, the thing at
Hmm.
the to get the Barbasol can, right?
Yeah.
And the
And he's
guy
like,
walks
"See,
up.
nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah,
cares."
yeah, exactly. He walks up
Yes.
with the Barbasol thing, and he sits down, and he's like, "Hey, it's Dodson," and the guy's like, "No names," and he's like,
Yes.
"Dodson, Dodson, we got Dodson here.
Yeah.
Dodson, see, nobody cares." That's Dodson
Yes. I remember seeing I don't remember where I saw that.
because they show
But
the
yeah.
Barbasol can
Yes.
whenever
Yeah, he
he
had,
goes
like, the
into his
relics
office.
in the room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has the
Yeah,
Barbasol can, which
that was pretty cool.
which also it's cool, but it doesn't make any sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because they would have had to find Nedry's body on the first one,
Yeah,
Isle of
right.
Nublar, because the Barbasol can, if you remember, got covered in mud,
Mhm.
and they were like making it like, oh yeah, the DNA is being like buried again, kind of like
Yeah, it was
it
getting,
was a
like,
long time ago.
swept away from, like, the little mudslide thing.
Yeah, it
Yep.
literally was buried in like a pile of wet mud. So
Mhm.
he had to have found it, and they did make it like dirty, or whatever. So they're saying that like he excavated it, but like Dodson at the time seemed to be kind of like a in between, like a messenger
Mhm.
that was just bringing this cool can to get the embryos, and he was buying them and whatever. And
Yeah.
like, so at some point he must have gone back to get it, or
Well, and
his
went to
team or
school to
his
become, like,
company.
a genius to learn
Yeah,
how to do all this stuff, so
right. But
that's what
anyways,
he's been the
I
past
don't
few
know
years.
if everybody, if I'm slow and it took me like to the end of the movie or after to
I
figure out,
didn't
and everybody
realize
already
it till
knew.
afterwards. I can't remember, like I said, it may have been, like, that I was reading stuff on Reddit after I watched the movie that I saw something about that, but then it slipped my mind to the point where you asked me about it, I'm like, "I have no idea who that guy is." Then it's like then
Dodson,
once you said it, I was like, "Oh, yes, I do remember that now." But no,
Dodson,
so
Dodson.
my story is a little bit different. So, like, I watched the movie with my whole family. I was like,
Yeah.
"We're sitting down, we're watching Jurassic World." We get to the scene towards the end, main bad guy dude is getting on the tram or whatever. He
Hmm.
gets on the tram with the thing, um, and the tram starts to go or whatever. And Kieran, my 10-year-old, looks over at me and goes, "Who's that guy?" And I'm like, "You mean the main bad guy?" We've been watching this movie. We're 2 hours into this movie, and you're
What?
asking me. He's like, "I thought it was just some random guy on the train." And I was like, "What have you been doing?" So Kieran gave the movie an 8.9 out of 10.
Of course you
Okay,
do.
so that's
Of
where
course
his
you do.
ratings come from.
Oh gosh.
My boys are a mixture, or my boys have both my sides. Because Kason, my 12-year-old, gave it a 5 out of 10 because the movie was upsetting him a lot with all the plot holes, and
I
it was making him
like it.
really angry. He was like,
He,
"I don't care how cool this looks, like, this doesn't make sense, and I don't like it."
yeah.
Uh,
See, I like him.
my other one, he's like, "I don't know who this guy is, but this movie's awesome."
The main villain. He's like,
He's
who's
just
that
like,
guy getting on the
"Who
train?
is this guy? Like, why
Oh
are they
no.
even bothering to show him?" Yeah, it was great. I had a good laugh at that.
Okay, well I like Kason's outlook on things
I
because
figure
yes,
you would.
things
Yes.
don't make sense.
I try to be
Um,
more like Kieran when I watch movies. Like, who is that guy? It
yeah.
doesn't matter. Cool. It's happening.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's cool.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I thought it was cool that they kind of brought it around. And like I said, maybe I'm just slow and I didn't put two and two together while I was watching it, and I had to go back.
Mhm.
But I did think that was pretty neat. I really, really hope that they don't make any more.
Mm. Well, they just need to wait 10 years, have the new up and coming star do it, and do
No,
it all over again. Like,
no.
unless who else is going to come out and make dinosaur movies? I will keep watching dinosaur movies as long as someone keep
We've
making them.
already discussed this. It should be James Cameron.
Yeah,
It
that's
should
true.
be Arnold Schwarzenegger
Mhm.
and Bill Paxton.
I don't know. I'd like to see Tarantino do a Jurassic
No,
Park
no,
movie.
no. Stop.
Do you know the amount of blood and gore that would be in that movie? It would be
No.
so
It
fun.
would be so
So
bad.
fun. And so
It
many
would be
twists.
Samuel L. Jackson would come back to reprise his role
Yes.
somehow as the man without an arm, or maybe it would Tarantino's version would be like a prequel to the first one, and it would just
Yes.
focus on Samuel L. Jackson's character, and then
Going through
somehow
the interview on how he gets to the park in the first place.
and then where he
Yes.
got his "hold on to your butts" as a
Yes.
catchphrase.
Wow, God. never takes a cigarette out of his mouth.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
dude, tell me that wouldn't be an awesome movie.
It
So
would be
shut up.
terrible. It would be
Just shut up.
terrible.
I'd watch it in a heartbeat.
I know.
I really
He's
would.
got
I don't
Who's
care.
that guy? It doesn't matter. It's cool.
Yeah. Dude, Tarantino, Samuel L. Jackson, I'm watching the movie.
Brad Pitt's in it,
Yeah, of course.
probably.
He plays the Velociraptor.
Speaking of Brad Pitt, all right,
Mm,
let's close the book on Jurassic Park. It's fantastic. It somehow
mhm.
maintains one of the best franchises while having the worst movies. I don't I don't know how,
I
but
don't
it
know.
does.
Yep.
It's the nostalgia for me.
Mhm.
But Brad Pitt's his movie August 5th, Bullet Train,
Bullet
looks
Train.
fantastic.
Dude, I'm so psyched for that one.
Yeah, looks
Yeah,
awesome.
that one is right up my alley. Lots of cool stuff.
lots of things exploding in action to keep
Mhm.
your brain busy.
Yep. I like it
Amazing.
a lot.
Amazing. Anyways, we're going to wrap up our Jurassic Park chat. Thanks for joining us for a world of laughs, a
Mhm.
Jurassic world of laughs, if you were.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, and TikTok. If you have a TikTok account, you can follow us for clips, and then you don't have to watch the whole episode if you don't want to.
Yep.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Whatever you'd like to do. Hope you hate it either way. Um, I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time.
See you later, dinosaur.